Hello everyone, myself Kshitija Jagdale. I am studying BSc B.Ed integrated course from Savitribai Phule Pune University, Department of Education and Extension.
Now I am going to explain you about famous novel The Seven Ages of Man, which is written by William Shakespeare. The speech compares the world to a stage and life to a play and catalogues the seven stages of a man's life. The poem Seven Ages of Man, Shakespeare compares the entire world to a theatrical stage where all the human beings perform their allotted role given by the god. Every individual has to go through seven acts, that are seven stages of man life. The first stage, in this phase of his life, man appears as a child in the world. As a child, he is a helpless creature. He cries in the arms of his nurse for one reason or the others. He cries and vomits. The next phase of his life, man appears as a child in the world. He goes to school with a bag hanging from his shoulder. He goes to the school creeping like a snail. He marches to the school unwillingly. In the third stage of his life, a man plays the part of a lover. He grows into a young man full of desires, ambitions, and dreams. He becomes a romantic young man. He falls in love and sighs like a furnace. He becomes to write sad poems to his beloved. He cannot control his sad feelings. In the fourth stage of his life, man becomes a foul-mouthed soldier who has learned queer words at his stage. He tries to give himself to formidable look with a beard like a part. He is emotional and jealous. He quarrels with others for his honor and grace. He hankers after temporary and bubble fame. In the fifth stage of his life, he becomes a judge. He becomes matured and experienced in his thoughts. The heat of youth has completely cooled down and he becomes very realistic. He wishes to grab wealth by foul or fair means. He begins to accept bribe and thus adds much to his material comforts. He becomes age-loving and therefore becomes fat. His belly becomes round. He eats healthy fowls and chicken presented to him as a bribe. His eyes become severe and he grows the beard for formal cut. Then, in the sixth stage of his life, man grows old. He looks quite ridiculous in his movements. He wears glasses because his eyesight is weak. His shoes become wild for his feet. His voice suffers a change. It becomes a shrill and quivering whistle. However, in the final stage, the man turns into a child once again. He seems to forget everything. He becomes toothless. His eyesight is weak and he is deprived of taste. He is ready to leave this world. Shakespeare has the seven stages of man's life with a touch of satire and cynicism. In each stage, man imagines himself great and important, but there is something ridiculous in his behavior all through his life. Shakespeare has described each of the man's life stage with great economy of words. He uses living and concrete images to describe the different stages of life. The use of the word, middling of the infant's cry, and the schoolboy's reluctance for going to school, describes in phrases crippling like a snail, are example of living images. Shakespeare wants to send a message through his poem, The Seven Ages of Man, that men and women are merely players in the drama of life. They are termed as merely players because no one lives forever but plays his or her part and departs. At birth, they enter a stage and during death, they leave it. Man passes through seven phases of life in accordance with their